Christmas nostalgia.
Yay.
You want to go first?
Sure. I love the holiday season. Well, I mean, I kind of a complicated love relationship with the holiday season. So Christmas, it's first of all, I guess I'll just throw this out of the way. I grew up in a very interfaith family. My mom's Jewish, my dad's Christian. My parents are divorced, but we still kind of kept the interfaith aspect of our upbringing. So we celebrated Christmas. And it was fun. I mean, like it was cool, listening to the Christmas music, waking up in the morning on Christmas and opening presents, and seeing family members and whatnot. So I mean, like it was a good time. There was a certain, fun, cozy aspect to it.
Old picket fence dream of America.
Yeah, something like that. And then just like spending the whole day just like playing with gifts and having Christmas movies on in the background. So that was definitely fun. As I got older, my relationship with Christmas started to change significantly. I worked in the grocery business for 13 years, so working with the public was just like, oh, this isn't fun.
Does your eyes start to twitch when you hear certain Christmas songs?
Yes, it does. So, I mean, the holiday season went from being something that was, nice and fun and something I looked forward to, being on the other end of, like, doing all that shopping was just like, oh, this isn't cool.
Life got real too soon.
And, I mean, it was better that way because, like, I needed to get out and work, so I needed to do something. But it did affect how I viewed things pretty quickly. And it became, this feeling of, this is a really warm, fuzzy time of year, kind of like shifted over to being like, well, this is really kind of manufactured and not as authentic as I felt it was when I was a kid.
How old were you when you started working in the grocery store?
I was 16.
Okay.
Before that, I had done a few things too. Like I had helped my neighbor set up his Christmas decorations, that was fun. That was a fun thing to do. But I guess really all kind of started when I was about 16.
Did you know Santa wasn't real before that?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did.
We don't want corporate America to deliver that message.
No. It's funny, though, because I do remember one of the stores I worked at, we had a manager who was, in the days leading up to Christmas, he'd be walking up and down the stores making an announcement over the loudspeaker, like, hey, we have this, we have these over here on this side, we have these over here. It's like, these are great stocking stuffers, kids. And I'm just all like, don't say that, because there are kids who don't know, like, don't spoil it for them. So that's funny.
So slaughtering of the innocence is what really bothered you.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even now, like, as an adult, I still love the imagery of Christmas, like snowy days, the colors, green, red, Santa, the elves, like the different, like, mythological
John
aspects
McClane.
of it. Yes. Mel Gibson is Kris Kringle. I mean, like, it all
Or
goes.
him in Lethal Weapon. Definitely a Christmas movie.
Yeah, actually, you're not wrong there. But I mean, like, all of the different aspects of it, like, there's still fun, and, like, there's still a lot of enjoyment to be had with it. It's just my relationship with it has changed significantly since being a kid. And that's fine. I mean, that's how life works, basically. Like, things mean different things to you at different points in your life.
So hold that thought, because we'll cover it a little later. Do you want to talk about your favorite Christmas song, your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh boy, that's a tough one because there's actually a lot that I really like. I love. This is gonna. So I guess I'll start with Christmas songs. I don't really have a favorite Christmas song per se, but I do have a couple favorite Christmas albums. I really love the Chieftains' "Bells of Dublin" from the early 90s. It's just a really cool collection of different songs. Like, there's some Irish Christmas music and some traditional songs by some different artists. And that was one my mom listened to that when we were growing up. So that's one I have a lot of nostalgia with. The Roaches, they're kind of like a folk band. it's an interesting name, but yeah, they have a really great Christmas album from the late '80s, early '90s that I grew up listening to, and that's one that I really love. I still listen to that today. I mean, I do kind of have a soft spot in my heart for like the classics, like Last Christmas and All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's like I say, it kind of goes to the love-hate relationship I have with the holiday season because of my retail days, and it was kind of fun. Like, okay, when exactly are we going to lose Whamageddon? Because being in retail, I mean, like the Christmas songs, they're on like right after Thanksgiving, so it's just like you would
soon.
Yeah, exactly. But I also kind of have a soft spot for All I Want for Christmas Is You, because my sister and I would listen to that as we would go into Boston for this Swedish Yuletide festival we went to.
Is it just about listening, though?
What do you mean?
It got nothing to do with the video and Mariah Carey.
No, it has nothing to do with the video and Mariah Carey.
All right.
Because
On the
I
record.
had heard that song. I had heard that song, and I had already had those associations way before I saw the video.
See, that was actually my uncle's defense to my dad when that song came out. My dad was making fun of him about it. He was like, dude, this is such corny tripe. And he's like, yeah, but she's really hot. Have you seen the video?
Exactly.
I mean, well, yeah, but
Have
I mean,
you read the lyrics?
I mean,
I mean, if you have a 5-year-old dancing to it,
It's not great.
I mean,
it's a bit suggestive, I would say.
I mean, I'm not saying that like
Well, how about Santa Baby?
That's oh god,
Very suggestive.
I do not like that.
Have you heard the
song
Michael
at all.
Bublé version of it? It's hilarious.
No,
He changes it to Santa Buddy.
Oh, God.
It's amazing.
I mean that does sound pretty good.
It's really funny.
But I'm not saying that I like those songs per se. I just have a soft spot for them because of the nostalgia attached to like childhood memories. As for my favorite Christmas movie, I really like I like White Christmas with Bing Crosby
That's a good one.
and Danny Kaye. That's a fun one. I mean, the premise gets so really ridiculous, and it still makes me like want to punch a wall. 'Cause it's just like this could be cleared up so easily, but it's still a fun movie to
so
watch.
good.
And then Christmas in Connecticut with Barbara Stanwyck and Sidney Greenstreet and Dennis Morgan. That's a really great one. I think those are probably my two.
That's
top
such a New England
favorites.
pitch, though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and it's even better when you look at Christmas in Connecticut, and it's just like this. It was filmed in like the middle of like June on a soundstage, but it gets the spirit so right. And again, it's just like the premise of the movie is ridiculous and could get cleared up in like 15 seconds, but it's still fun to watch somehow.
I think that's the point of these movies, that even kids are able to grasp onto it, and I think that's what makes it nostalgic. That,
Yeah.
Even as a kid, you got it. But yeah, this is really interesting for someone who didn't grow up in America. Listening about these as Christmas classics, and I'll get to that in the end. Bobby, you want to share your experience?
Sure. So, I don't know. I've always had a pretty positive relationship with the holidays. My folks did a really good job at making it a really warm, pleasant time of year. It's still the case now, actually. I live at home. I'm a college student. I commute into Boston. It's just easier to live at home from like a financial standpoint because I'm not paying rent or for a dorm. But
Very
it's neat
practical.
because I'm kind of in the throes of that right now, and it's pretty similar to my childhood Christmas. I mean, I think the biggest thing that changed, like if I had to mark a point, was the shift from my old man doing all the gift buying on his own to looking at me one day and being like, so you know about Santa, right? And he's like, and I was like, well, yes. And he's like, okay, cool. Do you want to go to Toys R Us to help me pick out stuff for your brother? And I was like,
When was
yes, I
that?
do. That's awesome.
How old were you?
I was like 12.
Okay.
I didn't find out about the Santa Claus thing until I was like 11.
Wow.
I was a child with a well-developed sense of wonder and imagination.
I'm with you there. I actually it didn't sink in for me until I was like 15. And
15?
I'll go on
Isaac,
the
that's
record
vindicating.
and saying that. And yeah, you can all judge me for that, but there you go.
You know, no, good for you. It means you have a sense that there's some magic in the world. And what's so wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for me, it was just like, oh, this is fun. This is, I mean, like it was, I don't know how else to put it.
It's lovely though. I think the only thing that's really different for me now and then is being a kid and being in the lead into Christmas. It's all of December. Like it's a countdown. I've noticed this year that I have so much else going on that it's kind of, I'll get excited about Christmas when I don't have anything left to work on. So my semester wrapped up yesterday and I was like, okay, I can finally enjoy the fact that it's the holiday season because I don't have any more things to do. But like, it felt like during the school calendar when I was particularly in elementary school, it was just running the clock because you'd be constantly reminded of it. It's all the other kids would talk about. There'd be decorations up in the classroom. If your teacher was feeling particularly bored or lazy, they'd just put on a Christmas special for you. Like, it was a thing for the whole 3.5 weeks. And by the time you were actually there, you were amped up, man. Like, it was like going to a Stones concert in the 60s and waiting for Jagger to take the stage.
60s. For the record, he is a Gen Z. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Ostensibly.
Yeah, he knows more. He knows more pop culture stuff than I do.
I don't get out a lot. Anyhow, yeah, it's...
So what's your earliest holiday memory?
Oh, golly. I must have been 3 or 4 years old. My stocking was full of Justice League action figures.
Oh, my goodness.
My dad had gone to a tremendous amount of effort. So, in what is one of the most brilliant marketing ploys of all time, they launched a television series called Justice League Unlimited, where the team was not the core 7 members. It was like 30-something people. And to a young child watching that, I need all 30-something people.
Yes.
I don't just need Superman and Batman. I need Buana Beast. I need the Crimson Avenger. I need Johnny Thunder. And if I don't get all of those, well, I can't play with any of them because I had this
Just
awful
doesn't
thing.
make sense.
Well, my mother always made fun of me as a kid that I couldn't do any playing with my toys until I had everything that was in my head as something necessary to play out whatever the adventure was. Like, she looked at me and was like, so you can't do Star Wars because you can't use your imagination for this character? I'm like, no!
What?
They make it. I need to have it. Anyhow, this has held into adulthood. I still collect action figures, and it's dreadful.
That's good, though. So you have that piece of nostalgia still with
Yeah,
you.
it's toy collecting's an interesting exercise in nostalgia because it's the exact translation of like this. Well, I'm taking something that I liked as a kid and moving into a new stage of a relationship with it. Like, they sit on a shelf as something that's a display item rather than for play, and you're concerned, like, you have different priorities with what makes a good play item versus a good display item. Like, as a kid, I was like, well, does this have cool accessories? Does this have cool action features? How can I play with it? And then as a grown-up, I'm like, well, does this look enough like it did on the page or in the episode or in the movie? They actually, the head sculpt looks less like Bill Sienkiewicz and more like John Byrne, and that's really not accurate. And I'm in tremendous pain. It's dreadful. Yeah, that was my earliest memory was stocking full of superheroes, which has kind of held for 15 years.
And
That's
what was your favorite Christmas movie? Do you still have one?
It's a Wonderful Life.
That is a good
good
pick.
one.
It's magic. It's one of my favorite movies because it's just this movie about how doing the right thing actually really does mean something to people and how by touching people's lives you really can make a difference. It's such a positive, sweet, good-natured film.
Look at that. The perfect summary, too. Thank you, Bobby. Do you believe in it? Is that something you remind yourself of every holiday? Or is that...
Good grief, absolutely. I live by it every day. It's as close to a credo as almost any movie is for me. It's about doing the right thing for people. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need more educators like that.
Yeah, we do. We do. Keep up the good work, Bobby.
This is really interesting.
What about you? What are yours?
For me, right? Yes. So I grew up in India, and I actually went to a convent where we were taught by nuns. So Christmas was legit. It was all about Christ and
Much more liturgical, a lot less commercial.
it's arguable because I, as an adult, I've been in America. I'm pretty sure if I'll go back, there are pieces of it which will now be registered as, far more commercial. As a child, you don't question it.
No.
Because that's when you're being indulged and it's fun and you're the center of attention. Why wouldn't you want that? But my least favorite thing about that experience was all the live nativities we used to put together. And I'm sorry to say, anybody who's under middle school has no idea what acting and coordination is. It's horrendous. I want to issue, a public service apology to all the parents,
Oh,
grandparents.
I'd extend that to middle school. No one in middle school knows any of that.
Oh, even as a child, it was painful to sit through those. I was one of the performers. I didn't want to put the audiences through it. I would have done anything to break down the set or to cause a commotion to, just relieve them of
Well,
that
it's so
pain.
much worse when it's through school or something, and you have to watch it as an audience member. You have to watch other kids do it, and you're just
Exactly.
like, "Could I get back to class? I'll take math over this."
Oh, no. We were called in on Sundays for this.
Oh, no!
You did full day of class. You did practice after
No,
school.
sir.
And then your parents. So back home, you can go to school anywhere. It's like everything's pretty much like a private school. So they would be driving 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour to sit through their child, performing as a goat or an octopus somewhere in the background with just hideous makeup running down their face and your paper costume soaking in sweat.
That sounds amazing.
Documenting it.
Documenting it, yeah.
We used to have legit cameras back in the day.
Uh-huh.
So you had that one shot, and then you will see what that photo was, 2 weeks from then. So, that I used to dread even as a child. My favoriteest thing was they would close down the entire street, and they would bring down a fleet of Santas. So it's interesting. You guys believed in Santa all your life. I was, I think, 5 by the time I started questioning. Because to me, I was this person who stayed up the entire night of 23rd, 24th, 25th of December. Because I was convinced there's no way on earth Santa's going to get to all of us. There has to be more than one Santa. Or he has to have minions doing this job, right? So I stayed up all night. And I confronted my parents and I told them, listen, something's wrong. It was a cloudless night. Doesn't look like he made his trips at all. We don't even have chimneys. If that's the only way he knows how to get in and out of a house, he can't be servicing us in India.
So your child brain was logical enough to deduce that, but wasn't logical enough to deduce that Santa might know how to just go in through a door?
No, I asked my parents,
Yeah.
right, if this is the only way Santa knows how to come in, and it's too warm in India to leave a glass of milk on the counter, he's not going to go, to your refrigerator. Oh my God!
Oh, they left milk out. Oh, it's curdled. Well, the thought's nice.
It's the thought that counts.
It's going to turn into paneer tomorrow. Make a curry. I can't believe it. I've subjected my parents to this. But yeah, they just had to come out and say, child, it's all right if you're not a believer. What was not all right was me going and letting everyone else know I have
you were
cracked
that
the code.
kid? Oh. My friend.
You got to let people come to that realization on their own good time.
I don't know. I
My-
don't know.
My friend.
I wasn't everybody's best friend after that. Let's just put it that way.
My friend is Jewish. Her kids, they still celebrate Christmas because she explained, she's like, it's so secular that
Yeah.
it's still celebrable. But
Yeah.
her kids figured it out, and she instructed them. She was like, look, we're going to do something very clever. If someone asks you about Santa, you're going to say, Santa doesn't come to our house. We're Jewish.
Oh, good Lord.
Which is, both statements are technically true. It's just a matter of syntax and grammar. Because they deduced at a similar age. They were like, so this is all
Yeah.
a myth, isn't it? And they were like, well, yes, but don't tell the other kids. I had my cousin who was half my age explain it to me, and I was like, huh.
Well, part of what's so interesting about it, though, is that you look around the world and you look at all like the different kinds or the different Santa-like people, figures, like
Santa-esque beings.
yeah, Santa-esque beings.
So for India, right, we inherited Christmas through colonialism.
yeah.
So we still have a white Christmas.
uh-huh.
It's the most ridiculous thing. It's so dystopian.
Very weird.
Suddenly, as
Yeah.
soon as it's... So for us, I think Christmas decorations start coming in around December 10th to 15th. Everyone will have a conifer in their house, right? don't exist in India. At least not in most of India, unless you're on the Himalayan foothills
What
and
are
further
the
up.
logistics of getting those? Like, are they all artificial?
They're all artificial.
That makes sense. I answered my question as it was coming out of my
Yes.
mouth, and I was like,
I mean, they're all artificial even
you
here.
Dummy.
Even when you have conifers, most
Yeah.
of them have artificial ones.
Well, because the artificial trees are just easier, aren't they?
Well, they were the only option for us. So
Yes.
it wasn't a matter of convenience at all at that
No.
point, right? I look back, it's so dystopian. You would have that, and you would have the fake snow, from the canisters that Santa would come and spray at you, and then like, spray me, Santa. Sounds off. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That sounds incredible.
Hey,
Oh, oh.
I was 7. Okay. I was 7 when I first thought of this. Please.
The critical reasoning skills weren't exactly in yet.
I didn't know things had different meanings 30 years later. Nostalgia puts you back in that mental state.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm saying things that I now realize and regret.
Retrospect.
But I think one of the most incredible things that my city did was we had an all-women Santa fleet.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
It was incredible. It was amazing. It was so cool and fun. And they would go down the road. They would close the main road. It would be all decorated and beautiful. There were bakeries over 100, 150 years old. And my favoriteest thing, I don't think there's a better holiday treat than a rum ball.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it. I have no patience for people who say that Christmas cake and fruit cakes suck. I'm sorry, America just doesn't know how to do them right. Why do you guys create these things which are better serviced as door stoppers?
I don't
They're so
know.
freaking expensive
I've never
to
actually
make.
seen one served before.
Well, because they sell, I guess that's the...
But
and
to
like
whom?
enough people buy them that it keeps on
I
going.
wouldn't buy one from America.
I've never seen anyone
I'm not a
buy
fan either,
or serve
necessarily.
one. I don't know, I'm convinced it's one of those things that doesn't actually exist and it's just referenced.
No, I taught myself to make one, and the right way to do it, I still remember it. The newspaper would cover it, and they would say that, hey, 50 kilos or 100 pounds of dry fruit has been
Yes.
soaked now. Pre-order your cake from, these 5-star hotels. It would be something redonkulous, like, say if a standard cake is $5, this one's $25. And
That's asinine.
it's so good, though. It's so good. So that's a part of my memory that these were the precursors to the actual celebration. I really enjoyed, and the school did a good job. You got a day off. They would put up a program for you. All of that I really liked. But the dystopian part of it all is that Christmas to me was always white Christmas. That's the only way we ever saw and perceived Christmas to be. Because that's the way, you would create a winter wonderland around you. The hotels, to date, set up these really huge gingerbread houses that you can actually go into and all of that.
Cool.
As a child, it's amazing. It's such a great experience.
Yeah.
And when I came here, to me, I couldn't believe, as far as your eye can see, it's just that same scenery replicated over and over and over again. That was a sensory overload, even at 21.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So I can't believe that Christmas in Connecticut, White Christmas, these are your classics.
I think it's interesting. Christmas is kind of the only time of year that people of every age watch really old movies. Like, I'm always surprised that peers of mine were like, oh yeah, I'd never touch a black and white film. I've still seen It's a Wonderful Life because it's a touchstone.
Music, actually. So for us, that's the interesting thing. The only Christmas music I had heard till I was about 20, or maybe 15, I don't ever remember voluntarily listening to Christmas music or being subjected to it, were hymns.
Yeah.
Silent Night.
Silent Night.
I didn't have a preference. It wasn't a favorite or not a favorite or what I would put on. It's just what's playing. And I think one of the most played songs was Silent Night, and I don't know, a bunch of them, basically. I'm sure if I heard it, I would sing along because I was forced to learn.
There's also some other good ones, like there's Oh Holy Night.
Yes.
Oh, Little Town of Bethlehem.
Oh, Little
Came
Town of
Upon Midnight
Bethlehem.
Clear, which is,
The Rebel Jesus.
I don't know if I know that one.
And the birth of the rebel Jesus.
No.
It's I don't know. That was on that Bells of Dublin album that I was mentioning
That's weird. I
earlier.
have that album and I don't remember that.
It's so good. I can lend it to you.
I would not mind that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it's
so
great.
for me, like, I am not Christian by birth, but I realize after coming to America, all the memories that I have associated with Christmas from childhood are, in fact, extremely, extremely religious in their background. It's less about the commercial aspect of it,
Yeah.
and that's just so bizarre to me.
Yeah. I mean, what I like about the holiday season now as an adult is I really like the idea of, I'm not particularly religious myself, but I see it as a time of year to, do the right thing, like you were saying, Bobby.
But there are definitely more opportunities, I think, this time of the year.
Yeah. And there's, kind of feeding into the nostalgia aspect of it. It's just like, yeah, it's Christmas. It's the Christmas time of year, I try to be the best person I can, like, all year round, but, like, I really try to amp it up around, like, do something that might be a little bit, that you might not want to do otherwise,
What is it this year? Apart from, gracing this podcast.
Donate to charities. When you're in the checkout line and it's like, you want to donate $1 or whatever to this charity, like, just say yes. Make an effort to, like, wish my family who I don't speak to the rest of the year necessarily, like, try to, like, get in touch with them, be like, hey, sorry, I'm not the best at keeping in touch, but thinking about you, hoping you're doing well, that kind of thing. I just see it, like, as a time of year or as a season to, be good to people,
Take a pause and reflect.
Yeah, take a pause and reflect and just kind of think about, okay, like, here are the things we have. Here are the things we should really be grateful for. Here are the people we should really be grateful for, and really just kind of hold that, and just try to give a positive impact to the community. So
That's interesting.
and it feeds in different ways. There's obviously the whole idea of Santa and giving gifts, but it's so much more than that. It's it's just just calling people, wishing them the compliments of the season. Extending an invitation or talking to people who you might not otherwise talk to.
But why is that? Why aren't you talking to them? Is it just because you're busy, or
Yeah, combination of
like, would you go back and talk to someone that like reaching beyond the aisle sort of a situation? Would you go that far just because it's the holidays?
Well, it depends on the situation, I guess. I do need to be better about staying in touch with my family. And I get wrapped up in work. I get wrapped up in life. And I'm just like, oh, geez, I'm really bad at keeping in touch with people. So I really try to, make that right around this time. I could definitely do better at that. But even people who I don't like as much because they annoy me, I try to be, like, a little bit more patient. Sometimes that doesn't always work. And that's
It's
not
all right.
and that's not to say if I talk to you around the holidays, it's because I don't like you and I'm trying to be a nice person. Like, I try to
Ouch!
Yeah, I try to do that. I try to do that. Like,
There's no way to tell unless we see you again come January.
Exactly. So, I guess this is a very kind of rambling way of saying the secular aspects of it, just like the idea of being a decent person, giving back to the community, and just trying to be a positive presence in the community, I guess.
How about you, Bobby?
What was the question?
I don't really think there was much of a question. I think I just
Yeah.
seized on a tangent and went on it.
That's kind of, I was like,
no,
well,
like
what's the
what
thread
what
of
are the
this?
holidays to you now? And
so I get, yeah.
I mean, you kind of answered.
Yeah,
You still live with your family, so it's easier for you to.
Pretty much the same. Yeah, it's
Plus,
just,
your parents decide who you will be seeing this Christmas, so that's
well, I
another
probably would
aspect.
see everyone. I would see everyone anyway. I'm pretty close and connected with my entire extended family, and as a function of that, and like Isaac said, particularly at this time of year, I think it's half born out of nostalgia and half born out of just sort of. I think the end of a year is a reflective time anyway, so hanging a holiday on that is a nice way to sort of
Yeah.
give you some drapery to put all of that
Yeah.
reflection onto. And sort of as a function of that, it's a time when I look back, reflect, recollect a little bit, and take stock of what I appreciate in my life.
Yeah.
And what are you appreciating this season? What are you most thankful for?
Oh, the people I love. That's always the case.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
is.
the pandemic really made us all realize that that's pretty much all that matters.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Just all the exactly, and like all the nonsense in the world, like, just kind of makes you realize, no, this is what's important and this isn't. Like, all of this stuff is just window dressing. This is the stuff that really matters.
Although I am fond of the window dressing.
I know, right? Why get rid of that?
Well,
great.
right, exactly. I mean, the window dressing is really fun.
Well, I think the window dressing is basically like a public announcement right now. Open to business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come stop by.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Another thing that I love, because I'm a big movie guy, I love seeing the different spins on Christmas movies that have come out in like the last 10, 15 years. It's interesting to see how different people take it and, you know, take the Christmas movie formula and try to make it a little bit different. So, like, I think the movie Arthur Christmas that came out about 15 years ago.
Underrated pick.
Oh,
Nice work.
that's so good. That's
I
what I
haven't
actually
watched
have an Arthur Christmas sweater.
I love that.
Yeah, my mom made it for me one year, and it was
It's a British animated Christmas film.
Yeah,
Oh, is
it's
it?
it's
Yeah,
by
it's
Aardman.
really fun.
Yeah, it's really cool, and kind of like how you were saying, it's like, well, how can Santa get to all of these places in one night unless he has like a crew working for him?
Yeah.
Well, this movie, like, it shows that exact scenario.
Yeah, I was just born ahead of my time, right? I could have saved this. Pat, question for you: are we going to lose our PG-13 rating just because I've killed Santa for kids?
Well, I feel like by 13.
We can air this later at night.
Except Isaac.
Yes, later at night. There we go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, it's also kind of fun watching just like even more silly takes, like Christmas action movies. Like, obviously there's Die Hard, and that's awesome. But I mean, like, even like in the last 5 years,
You have
10
serious
years.
hots for Mel Gibson. You just can't get over it. Christmas time, you want to just talk about Mel Gibson.
Die Hard.
Who is
Die
in
Hard's
Die Hard?
Die Hard's
That's-
Bruce Willis.
that's Bruce-
Lethal Weapons
All the
Gibson.
same to
I mean,
me.
they're both
Yeah.
Christmas action movies from
Yeah.
like within a year of each other.
They're both the same
Yeah.
kind of mediocre
Same
actors.
studio?
Who
I don't know if it's the same
I can't
studio.
understand
Fox
why they
was
made
Die
it that
Hard.
big.
But I was going to say like more of the schlockier ones that have come out the last few years, like Violent Night.
Violent Night was fun.
Violent Night was so much fun.
Yeah, definitely airing at night now.
Yeah, Violent Night. So it's just kind of cool seeing. It's kind of like a challenge, like for me as a creator. I think it's like a challenge. Like, what way can you take this and show it in a way that you haven't before, in a way that's fresh, but in a way that's also really fun.
I think the truest representation and the most quirkiest at the same time has been Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yes,
One
absolutely.
of my favorite movies.
I think of
ever.
that. I guess I think of that as more of a Halloween movie. But
It
that's,
isn't though, and I'll tell you why.
But it is. I mean, like, it is more of a Christmas movie. I agree with you. But
It's 100% Christmas because, like I told you, it was so dystopian for me coming from India. I couldn't understand. To me, it was, like you said, just window dressing a holiday. And you come here and you're like, this is where it comes from. It is their truth, you know. So the song, what is this?
Yes,
I
Oh,
have that
gosh.
sense of wonderment every single time the first Christmas lights go up.
Yeah, yeah.
I just cannot shake it off, and it truly, and they did a really good job in. I think that's what the thing is when it's in a language and created in a place for the audiences who completely relate to what Christmas is.
Yeah.
They see it as a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
But when it's someone like me, from a completely different place who has questioned all their life,
Yeah.
What would it actually be like to have a white Christmas?
Yeah.
Every single emotion, every single thing that they show. And I love the way they played with it, that even though Halloween, that time of year, has far more color, they've depicted everything in just black and white.
Yeah.
And Christmas is essentially an all white and always dark. They've pulled in more color into that white. And
Yeah.
that contrast, you really have that sensory overload in your mind, and those light bulbs go on and the smells and everything.
Oh,
They
yeah.
did an excellent job of really expressing what you truly feel when you see a white Christmas for the first time.
That's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, it
it's-
really is.
I have a strictly pragmatic reason for viewing it as a Halloween movie first. If I watch it at Christmas, I'm bummed at how long I have to wait until the next Halloween. If I watch it at Halloween,
Yeah.
I say, and then this next holiday is right after that. Woo!
Yeah, because my favorite holiday is Halloween. I'm like, I live in a perpetual state of Halloween all year long. And honestly, I when I say the holiday season, I'm very much including Halloween in that, because it's my favorite holiday. It's the one with the most interesting history and evolution
That is
to
true.
me. And Christmas is also a really interesting holiday. It's got like a lot of really interesting history, a lot of interesting stories, a lot of interesting iconography, imagery. So I think it's really cool taking both of those holidays, Halloween and Christmas, that are so, you think about it, like on the surface level, they're very different. They're kind of like a big contrast.
Yeah, chalk and cheese.
but
I
you-
don't know if anyone in America understands what it means.
But you put them right next to each other, and it works. It's perfect, and it's also, because Christmas is so like, the Christmas stuff comes out so early. Like you start seeing Christmas stuff
does.
late September, like October. You start seeing like stores really like blow up with Christmas stuff. It's just kind of like, it's interesting to see the mix. And if you have Nightmare Before Christmas, it's the best of both worlds, because it's Halloween, but it's also Christmas. So.
I do feel, though, that Thanksgiving isn't getting much of its due lately, especially in the past few years.
My mom rants about this. I have very little sympathy. I don't care about Thanksgiving.
It's never been my favorite, but I think it's an interesting one to. I mean, it's definitely one that needs to be talked about. One that it deserves a place at the table, so to speak.
Really, actually a solid pun. I actually think we need to take a second and appreciate it.
I know
It's a
that
good
that
pun,
was.
man.
The pun was actually not intended.
Take credit.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. But
We're being nice to you.
I know.
Please.
I don't know. What
Jerk.
I don't know what that feels like. I'm sorry. I'm not used to people being nice to me.
Take the compliment, you
Just-
schlub.
Okay.
Just give us a token holiday good deed
Okay. All right. Thank you.
This is my one for the day. I can check it off.
Yeah. Exactly.
for the season. I'm done.
I've done my mitzvah. It's over.
Yeah. But why do you? What is it about Thanksgiving that you think doesn't get its due?
I think culturally, as well as in a practical sense, it has more value because, especially for the Northern Hemisphere, that is the time when you take a pause in your life. You're going through a transitional season, and there is value to, I know, I mean, it starts looking like the season of excess and indulgence, but the reason used to be that everyone was farming back then. And this was the only time when they could actually take a pause, relax, be outside. It would be too cold again. And you really reflect and plan for the next year.
Yeah.
So to me, it is an appropriately timed holiday. And if you look at any other place in the Northern Hemisphere, even in India, where you have an agricultural community, within a span of a month or so, all of us have such festivals. And it's the same concept, you pop the grains like popcorn or wheat or whatever it is that you grow. It's the same kinds of foods, a lot of nuts and sugar in your diet. Same kind of concept of communally sharing meals and being together, being thankful to nature, and it's less religious and it's more communal at that point. And
Yeah.
that's what's my favorite part about Thanksgiving, that truly the community and the humanity is what's celebrated. You don't do it out of fear. You don't do it because in your next life or somewhere else you will
Yeah. It's
be
for its own
benefiting.
sake.
Yeah, it's to me, there's no better representation of something that celebrates the present moment.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's definitely a really good point.
So I do think that the transition is really important before going into Christmas. And like you both pointed out, this I don't want to call it forced, but it is a mental clock that kicks in that, yes, now I need to do the right thing. Now I need to do the good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using Christmas to force that upon people. I think it's used in the wrong way. So in the fiscal year runs from January to December in America.
Yep.
What they're actually doing is, if you donate through them, the corporation is the one who's going to say, look, I raised this much more money. Therefore, they will get tax rebate. So they are positioning themselves for a stronger fiscal finish
Yes.
come tax time.
Yep.
Sure, and by the same token, all of the companies that are telling you, yo, you have to buy this at this time of year. You need to get gifts for everyone you know.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all right. That's all right. And here's why. Because you are telling me your value proposition.
That's fair. It's
You
not,
are
it's
telling
not a
me what you are
moralized value
offering to me.
proposition.
Yes. Right? What I'm saying is morality is a personal decision. If you want to do the right thing, whether as an individual or a corporation, do it on your terms,
So
not
you
on
disagree
mine.
with compulsory morality at this time of year.
I disagree with the falsehood of it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
I should be getting the tax rebate,
It should
even
be
if
done
I'm
without
doing it
pretense.
for. Yes. So what I'm saying is, if it is for tax rebate, right?
Yeah.
I make that conscious choice and I tell myself, yes, I am that person who's motivated by this. I will donate $500 and I will take the receipt and I will do it in lieu of the tax rebate that I'll get.
Yeah.
This falsehood of I did something great and because I didn't get the tax rebate or because I don't know what's going on, 100% of this is going towards something else. That is what I disagree with.
Okay.
The lack of transparency.
Yeah.
And statistically, the worst time for food banks actually is from January to May, when nobody is going and helping out. And the only things that we end up donating between the time of October to December is canned foods
Mm-hmm.
and processed foods. So I really would, if anyone wants to make the holidays about doing good or, New Year resolutions, I urge you to deeply, deeply, think about it
Mm-hmm.
and consider spacing out the same time, effort, and resources, whether it's money or whatever else there may be, over a sustained period of time rather than, just this one and done kind of a situation. I think that
I completely agree with you on that.
that's my take. But please go ahead, Americanize me.
I mean, on which aspect?
In every which way, right? I've been here 16 years,
Oh,
but
fair enough.
the things that's so. This really amuses everyone else. My favorite dessert. The first time I visited America, I think I was about 13 or 14. When people ask me, what did you really like? My favorite dessert was cereal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I love cereal.
I couldn't believe it. That's breakfast.
I
I
still
actually
love cereal.
But have you switched what kind of cereal?
Honestly, not
Are you a
really.
granola guy now just because?
Yeah, I have grape nut flakes in the morning. It's depressing.
I mean,
What is
I've
that?
always had
It's
like
one of those
Chex.
sad cereals that's just grain that's meant to be filling, and there's no added sugar, and you just eat it, feel sad and full afterward, and you're like, oh,
Just eat oatmeal.
I love oatmeal.
I love oatmeal. The
like oatmeal.
the steel cut sort,
Yes.
not the mushy gunk.
Maybe I ought to just give it another shot. I've never really been a huge fan of oatmeal.
Put less water in it so that it's got a little more texture. It's more
Yeah,
juicy.
maybe,
It's good.
If you like
that's what I
texture.
ought. I'm not really a huge texture person. I have weird taste.
How do you
buds.
like your potatoes, mashed or roasted?
Mashed?
Then you are definitely the instant oatmeal guy. I think so.
I generally go with the instant oatmeal in the morning just because it's easier. I don't feel
I
like going through the
can't.
rigmarole.
If I do instant oatmeal in the morning, rest assured you don't want to see me for the rest of the day. I will be the worst
I've
person
got
ever.
a good one for you on the Thanksgiving thing, though. That's part of my prejudice against it. I am not far removed enough from my primary education to not resent the fact that, particularly growing up in Massachusetts, Thanksgiving always meant the advent of being retaught about the Pilgrims. Good gravy, am I sick of that? Every year when I was in elementary school, because it was local history, we'd get the exact same, like, let's drill into you what the first few years of settlements in Plymouth was like. And I'm like, please stop.
So that's your version of the nativity.
Yes, it is exactly that. Because, so, about a 45-minute drive from me is Plymouth Plantation.
Yes.
Plymouth Plantation is the single most boring place on the face of the planet.
It is not.
Yes, it
Have you
is.
tried that cranberry bread? I will say this, though. That rock is not rocky
No,
enough.
it's a
a
rock.
pebble. It's a pebble.
It was actually voted the most underwhelming tourist attraction in
Good
the world.
God. I tried so hard. I thought I missed it.
There was
under the waves.
Yep.
And then they said, no,
There was
that's
a group
it.
that was
little
there.
pebble.
There was a group that was there once when I was looking at the rock. It was a group of children with their teacher, and the teacher had taught the kids to say, "That's it."
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, that is part of what rankles me about Thanksgiving is that I have to listen to how these boring religious weirdos came across the ocean, took some land that didn't belong to them, and then celebrated.
I mean, I think for me, it's kind of, again, coming back to what I was saying about it being interesting to take the Christmas movie formula and kind of change it, make it a little bit more fresh and interesting. I think part of a challenge for me at some point is to do something like that about like what Thanksgiving might really have looked like totally stripping away the idealized version of, okay, this is
You
the
mean
great-
sanitized?
Yeah, the sanitized version of it, exactly, and just showing what it really, really looked like.
There was a good PBS thing about that a few
That's
years
too
ago.
much reality for the world.
There was a good PBS thing about that a few years ago. I think Roger Reese was in it.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, check this out.
I'll send it to you.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am really interested because I love history, and I think the history of it is really interesting, but it is frustrating when you look at how sanitized it is. It's just like, this is very, very problematic.
Have you read
how we're putting
Nathaniel
this.
Philbrick's book on the Pilgrims?
No, I have
Oh,
not.
dude, I'll lend you my copy of it. You'll love it.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for most of my early education, I could sum up what I learned about that with the Charlie Brown special. Does anyone... did you see that too?
I know of it. I did not see it.
There is a Charlie Brown special. with the
Oh, wait, the
Pilgrims,
Charlie Brown
and it's
special.
dreadful.
I'm sorry.
As it should be.
It's terrible because it is this ridiculous,
Wait,
like...
hold on. Are you talking about
Not
the
a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Are you
The Charlie
talking about-
Brown, The Mayflower Voyagers.
Oh, dude, I love that one.
Oh, come on.
I mean, like, I know it's...
Some of your customs are still strange to me.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's definitely awkward.
That
and-
sentence still holds true today.
I mean, it does. I mean, but for me though, that's something that I watched growing up a lot, so I have a lot of nostalgia attached to it. But yeah, I know that it's definitely
Every year I have more
problematic, at
issues
least.
with it.
Yeah. But
And that's a
I
part
mean,
of
for
growing
me,
up,
it's-
Yes.
right? That's a part of growing up. That
Yeah.
you analyze more, you question more. And I
yeah.
think that's what holidays are. You grew up. It's not the point. I don't think nostalgia is about just loving everything that you do.
Yeah.
It's about having that baseline, realizing this is where we were, right? This is what was appropriate or was appropriated for me. And where have I evolved in my personal growth and what values do I hold today and where do these align? What bits of this do I remember with joy? What bits of this do I want to change going forward? Because you can't change your past. There's no point regretting or resenting it.
No.
You know, I don't want people to apologize for the childhood they were offered. You had no control over it.
I
Yeah.
find with looking into my own past that I'm happy with the person I am today, and therefore I can look back with a degree of impunity because I'm going, well, the experiences that I've had made me the person that I am, and I'm satisfied with where I've ended up and what I've done with that. So it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, like, there's still we never stop changing as people.
No.
Like, we never stop evolving. We never stop growing. And I think that's a really important mindset to have. It's not always easy. Like, it is definitely easier said than done to like not look back on things with a certain amount of this is frustrating, this is problematic. But it is. I mean, like you say, it's better to have that kind of a mindset about it.
I mean, I get it. It absolutely sucks that it's not the bedrock. You know, every one of us wants to have that safe place to go back to every time
Yeah.
you lose your faith in humanity.
Yeah. Because I mean, like every time the holiday season comes around, I try to, and I guess this is more a thing with Halloween because that was always my favorite. But I always try to. I just remember the one year when I was like 12 years old, I had the perfect Halloween season. It was wonderful. I was so happy. I felt so. I don't know. Everything was just right. And I've tried every single year to try to recreate that. It has never worked. And I mean, it's just one of those things where it happens, and you can't recreate lightning in a bottle. It happens, and you catch it.
Right.
That's not to say that other things can't be special in their own way too, but you can't recreate, 12-year-old Halloween. You know, it's just
I think you can't create novelty.
no, you can't. It's something that just happens.
And your perception of whatever's happening at that point as well, right?
Exactly.
Even if the same sequence of events were to repeat.
Yeah.
I always say it's like your second love. Your first love is precious, not because there were anything unique, but the discovery of what it feels like to you when you fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
The second time around, you know what to anticipate and what it's going to be like. So that sense of wonderment and novelty has
Yeah.
washed off.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
You
it.
know.
It's washed off. It's gone.
Most people, when they remember what their first love was like, even 20, 30 years later,
Yeah.
they remember what they hold on to is what it made them feel.
Yep.
And that definitely, I feel that's the biggest gift. If you can hold on to that and always remember that you're the one who made that magic for you, not
Yeah.
the other person,
Yeah, that's true.
you can recreate it.
Well, I don't know about recreating it. You can experience something that's just as special in a different
Exactly.
way. And I think that's actually more important because if you do that, if you just try to recreate something that worked before, it's just kind of like living in the past. Which there's definitely a, there's definitely like a big part of me that wishes I could go back to that time, but that's also denying the positives that are happening now or that will happen. It's being open to what can.
I think that's
what can come.
that's what I think well put. I believe that is what creates all the disappointment and depression that comes with the holiday season.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah,
keep
that's a big
comparing
part.
it to what it was in the past.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to just kind of keep an open mind about what's happening now. What am I
Move your
grateful for
countries.
now? Well, yes. Yeah. That.
Top tip: if you can't appreciate the holiday you have where you are,
Yeah.
move countries. Go travel somewhere for holidays 1 year.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that got super serious.
It did. which is good. I mean, it's good to really do serious deep dives into things.
Balls of wisdom from Isaac.
So for this holiday season, just think about what's going on for you that's really good. Think about what you have now that you're grateful for, who you have now that you're grateful for, and
Who you are.
who you are. Be grateful for who you are, what you're looking forward to, what you're excited about. Ways to make yourself a better person. Just kind of keep that in mind too, and yeah, really just kind of focus on that this holiday season too.